Hello, welcome to The Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and I'm not even going to try and hype this up. You don't need, you know what it is. You don't even need me to hype it up. We're about to see maybe some of the greatest reveals for Age of Sigmar ever, which is very exciting. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Games Workshop did just do their reveal videos, reveal sort of thing that they do from one of their events. And we got to see a bunch of new stuff. So if you're an Orc fan or if you're a Goblin fan, and in fact, basically, if you're a fan of anything green, this is the release for you, which is super exciting. But I'm going to kick us off, very interestingly, before we talk about the models, I'm going to kick us off with the best bit of news that kind of got hidden underneath everything else. And that comes from this little article that they've put up during the release. So this Grotmas calendar thing that they've done, they've announced that they're going to be releasing a ton of new stuff for 40k. That's not what really interests us, because obviously we're Age of Sigmar fans, so we're way cooler. Down here, you can see that they have said that, not to be outdone, Warhammer Age of Sigmar is also receiving a Grand Grotmas content drop in December. We'll have more of this in due course. But they did actually talk about this on the stream. And one of the things that they said on the stream was that there would be 8 regiments of renown, 8 regiments of renown, 2 for each Grand Alliance, which would be released. Now, I have been absolutely planting a flag. My stance on this has been very clear through the whole of this edition. I love the Black Talons. I love the Saviors of Cinderfall. I love what they can do with the Regiments of Renown. I also love what they can do with Armies of Renown, but they've really missed the mark on the flavor and the quality and the content of Armies of Renown so far. But with Regiments of Renown, they've done pretty well. Loads of pretty garbage, but they've hit the line with some of it, and I'd like to see them to continue to do so. Package me up a bunch of cool minis from another range and let me play it alongside my army. Let me make it so that I can add a little bit of flavor. Let me do a little bit of hobby. Perfect. 2 Regiments of Renown for each Grand Alliance is a lot of potential great gaming stuff. I'm very hopeful. I'm not getting my hopes up that it's going to be good, because they haven't really made some brilliant ones, but they have made a couple of amazing ones, and I'm really hoping we see more of that. So that's a big ticket. Obviously, we're all excited about miniatures, but actually, when it comes to gaming and other stuff, that's actually pretty exciting, so I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, for the people that can't read, which is all of the Orruk fans, I'm about to read you the article about the new Orruk War Clans book. Now, we did say, and I've been saying that it's going to be the Orruk War Clans book. It also looks like there's going to be a Gitz starter box as well. We haven't heard anything about Nurgle, which is surprising. Okay, so 2 factions, Ironjaws and Cruel Boys, are in the new book. About Orruk War Clans. The Big War returns as an army of renown. So that is a big news. So you can once more combine the 2 different armies. And I think that that's actually quite nice, because I think a lot of people collected some Ironjaws and also some Cruel Boys together during 3rd edition, a bit miserly to get rid of their ability to coalesce those armies. So it's really good that that's back. That's fun. Although I personally could see Orruk War Clans being 2 separate books, giving them separate and better identities. You know, I don't know why the elves get to be separate books, but these have got to be the same. But either way, I think the fact that you can combine them and put together, absolutely brilliant. Some nice art on the front cover. I really like the art. I think that's cool. We already made a video and we already talked about the new Hobgrot Slitter boss. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited about this, and let me know in the chat if you're excited about this. I said it's a bit like whatever. Probably don't buy this. Just get any Hobgrot you found and stick something on it, and that's fine. It's an okay model. It's not what I'm here for. But what I am here for is the new faction terrain. So what's more, Orruks have begun to raise edifices featuring their own glowing visages, namely the Boss Rock Tower and the Scaregob Totem. There we go. So these are actually really cool. And this pretty much cast iron confirms for Age of Sigmar that every single army that didn't have terrain and didn't have manifestations or endless spells is going to be getting them. So Seraphon fans, you're probably going to get some endless spells. Cities of Sigmar, you might get terrain and endless spells. I think this is something we're going to see all across the world. All across the game system, sorry. So this is actually pretty exciting. Let me know what you think of the actual thing. Boss Rock Towers are cobbled together by the Iron Jaws in places filled with war energy to mark their territory and to provide a convenient place of weird knobs and war chances to perch as they conduct power of Gork. We heard in the live stream that it gave something like +1 to chant for prayers, which I thought was interesting. And also, as he's been pointing out in the chat, thanks Phil, big love to you, that this is also a piece of terrain with a base. As we know, terrain can be destroyed in Age of Sigmar 4. Having a base really helps us understand exactly where that terrain piece is, so I think that's good. Gargant terrain will be interesting. Yeah, let me know what sort of terrain you think Gargant terrain will be. Maybe like a footbath. Who knows? And then look, I don't know if this is an alternate build, which does mean if you do play Orruk War Clans, you might have to buy 2 of these. Scaregob tokens are lodestones that channel the cunning energy of Mork, raised on stilts to loom above the fetid swamps. These structures strike fear into any who glimpse their glimmering leer out through the fog. They emit a constant jabbering stream of invective, which only becomes more vicious as they go. There's a fresh crop of Orruk manifestations as well. So there we go. Whoa, we've got ourselves a Foot of Gork, 2 different versions, a foot and a non-foot. Maybe it jumps between 2, which is cool. There's a swamp, which is obviously very Cruel Boys coded, and then also like a scare shield spell. And it's at this point, I would have liked to have seen the two different armies broken out into different factions. And the reason is then you would have had a little bit more identity for maybe these manifestations, but there we are. But pretty cool. I like both of these. Foot of Gork fans, I think, are going to be pretty wild. If you're an Orruk fan, you are, I think, currently losing your whole shit. The Gork Roarer races around spewing mainly induced smoke and screaming so loud that nearby heads explode. So I'm assuming you can't use command abilities within 6 inches. The infamous Foot of Gork is a glowing green trotter that has flattened many a self-satisfied hero across the ages. Finally inspired by the marsh-forming spit knocked out from Gobsprak's gob in the Age of Myth, the Mork spit marsh is a bubbling sump that confounds and consumes those who are near it. Ethereal engineers are great, and Uruks will reluctantly admit they are happy to see their foes beat in submission by glowing green magic, but they would much rather be using their own fists to smash folk handily. There's a spearhead coming out as well, which has got a bunch of the new hard boys, a big boss, and also like a unit of ragers. Looks also like we've got a unit of brutes as well. So that's a pretty good, like, if you're watching this, you go, Rob, I haven't collected Iron Jaws, but I'm tempted to. I'd say that's not too bad. The current rules, and maybe that's something I should have led with, Iron Jaws are pretty underrepresented at the minute in play, especially in tournament play, and they're definitely really lacking when it comes to a rule set. Don't have many actual battle traits. Many of their units, this is an army where almost everything is just a fighting unit and not anything else. If you're talking about Iron Jaws, if you're talking about Cruel Boys, it's definitely one of the most interesting and evocative like rule sets, like with the battle traits, if not a little bit swingy and unreliable, which is kind of fun. They're kind of like the new Skaven, if you will. Like if you were looking for random and fun, then the Iron Jaws Big Mob, then the Cruel Boys are for you. But I would say overall, a pretty great release. Let's just make sure we get through everything. And they're putting more reveals. Check out in the World Championship. Okay, so there's plenty more reveals. So that's it. So that's the Iron Jaws release. I'm personally excited for this. I think this is great. This looks like a big refresh. Obviously, some Iron Jaws players, I think, let me know in the comments, are going to be a little bit mad that they have to buy a terrain feature. And these manifestations aren't really necessary unless they're going to compete with some of the other, like, quote unquote, good manifestations. But I think it's great to see. Feels like the range is more fleshed out. I think the only big change I would have liked to have seen is these two armies broken up. But if you're not sure, if you don't agree with me, let me know about these. Right, so jumping on, and I think like somehow it got better. And we have seen released, or at least announced, the Git Mob army set. I'd like to put a pin in. I'm incredibly excited about this release. I don't even know what this is better than. I think this might be the best one, the best release yet. I will caveat this with, obviously, I do also make old world content as well and play old world. And it very much feels like the Git Mob was designed to be an old world set of models that is now released in Age of Sigmar. But Age of Sigmar fans aren't going to give a fuck about that, because why would you? How incredibly exciting is it that you have got this insane release that's about to come up? It feels a little odd for Gloomspite, who have an incredibly massive roster already, to be adding more models in to that roster. But, you know, we're going to see that. Now, this hasn't been announced as it having a rule book with it or anything similar. Oh, no, it has actually. In fact, let's just go through the article and I'll just talk about it. Okay. So, the Grots of the Git mobs revel in the light of the bad moon, just like their grotto-dwelling kin, even though, like, they've got suns and stuff. But unlike their damp, anemic, sun-hating Gloomspite cousins, they view the searing entity called the glare-faced Frazzle Git as a bully who chases around their much-vaunted bad moon. Naturally, the Git mob looks up to it as a malignant orb of fire, often quite literally, because what kind of Grot doesn't want to be a bully? To that end, they craft all manner of gubbins designed to steal its power, absorbing the Hishian light so that they might use it in battle. They do so from the back of vicious snarl fangs and ramshackle chariots, the likes of which make the Gloomspite Git mob army set. So the army set, I'm pretty certain is going to be the models you see above, which is going to be 2 chariots, a unit of wolf riders, and also the boss. And Ripper Snarlfangs are different. So if you go and look at the already available Wolf Riders, Ripper Snarlfangs, that's only got 1 goblin per wolf. These are 2 goblins per wolf. Was this originally the Hobgoblin Incarnate? 100% it was. Framed by this impressive saddle banner, the Frazzle Fangs, Drogs de Stomper, is a grand snarl boss, leader of the Sun Chompers, the largest Git mob to descend from Hish. Legend has it that 100 years ago, Drogs crafted his Corona-like banner from some metal, looted from Sonari battle mages. This is obviously an insanely good model. Everything about this is right up there, in my opinion. I like that they've kept the fire theme going as well. The most recent like Orruk release, like the Anvil Smasher, obviously had this kind of like fire theme going along with it as well. And I do really like that we're getting this kind of elemental style look at what destruction and destruction factions are. The wolf is insane. Shout out to whoever painted this model, because they really deserve like a clap on the back. I think this is stunning. And obviously brilliant. Yeah. It's just super, super good. In true succession of the most fearsome Git mob warriors have taken up the mantle of Sun Chomper, each chosen by a Jarl Snarl, the wild Snarlfang Alpha who has lived that long. The current incarnation of Drogs is a mean and keen-minded Grot with an unquenchable ambition who leads the Git mobs to war. So this is going to be quite cool as a release. Accompanying Drog are a pack of giant Snarlfangs, each ridden by a pair of Grots. Snarlpack cavalry act as shock troopers, gathering up deadly momentum so that their skewers can effortlessly punch through thick plate. Hopefully it's not the same rule as, obviously, the Gore Grunters, because not the Gore Grunters, the Maw Grunters from Ironjaws, because that's a terrible rule. Their weapons are frequently crafted from the choicest bits of metal, taken from post-battle loots, extremely effective at conducting Hishian energies until they release. So anyway, these are great as well. I mean, obviously. I mean, I don't really need to say this. You already knew going into this video that everyone was going to be so hype about this release because the models are just great. Looks like it's a unit of 3. So it's going to be going kind of along the, like the Agrodon loot, but just super good. And then we have the chariots as well. So these look great. I'm not trying to skip over these. I want to be really clear. I think that these are the reason. Games Workshop has not done an overly good job ever in Age of Sigmar of writing chariots well. So we'll have to see if they are able to change that up here. So we'll have to see. The army set also contains a copy of Battle Tome Gitz, 100. So it is going to contain a copy of the army book, 128-page book packed with background information, rules, art, and gorgeous photography. This copy comes with a special cover featuring a depiction of the leering, glare-faced Frazzle Git. It also comes with a set of 59 war scroll cards featuring rules for all your climate conniving units. That's a massive roster at this stage. A massive roster. You've got all of the, the Moon Clan. You've got all of those pieces as well. You've got all the trolls. You've got loads and loads of kits here. This is absolutely a huge release. Things don't end there for the Git mob, though. They have a slew of new units coming after the army set, including the Doom Diver. So an artillery piece as well, which looks insanely good. Looks like it's going to take you about 3 years to paint, but it's obviously so much character, and it's nice to see this brought into the army as well. It's also going to mean the profile of the army, a mortar, but like an artillery piece behind the army, some Gits, some Snarlfang. Like as you're a Goblin player, you're very happy, very good. Gitmob packs are commanded by a Snarl boss, uniquely violent grots who have managed to secure their trust of slobbering Snarlfight Alpha. Those rare grots who manage to tame 2 alphas will unleash them to chariots, a potent symbol of their unassailable might. Snarl boss, a war wheeler, brings lunar and solar power together, which is super cool. I like the idea that I do like this story that they've developed where they're absorbing the sun. So I'm really hoping they get some sort of they get the reverse mechanic of a moon, you know, the battle trait for the moon, where they're chasing the sun around versus chasing the moon around. But again, it feels very weird as an inclusion in the Gitz, because Gitz literally chase the moon. This is very, very weird. But yeah, if Games Workshop could write a good artillery war scroll and a good chariot war scroll, that's going to be very, very interesting. Sometimes war wheel chariots are co-opted by Frazzlegate shamans, the lunatic wizards who wield luminous powers, blinding nearby enemies or sending snake plumes of scorching smoke across the battlefield to burn the lungs and eyes. So here you've got a awesome mini. You've got a Git wizard atop a chariot, which is just insanely good as well. Right, so just amazing. You'll also be able to get battle token Gloomspite Gitz in standard at Game Edition shortly after the release of the army set in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. These high-speed hooligans aren't the only blessings of Gork, much larger. Okay, so that's, if you're a destruction player, you are over the moon from the reveals this weekend. And I'm going to need to know what you all think in the comments below. That's what I really want from this. What are you excited about? What are you not excited about? I've not tried to, make anyone feel a little bit down, especially when it comes to the Gitmob. I'm really excited for the Gitmob, but they feel weird. They feel like they should be their own release. Weirdly, I even feel like if you're going to release the Gitmob, that would have been the time to break out. That would have been the time to break the Cruel Boys out from the Orruk War Clans and maybe even brought the Gitmob in. That would have made more sense to me. Obviously, they've written some narrative where they're chasing a sun and something, but I think that would have been interesting. But yeah, I mean, 2025 for Age of Sigmar is looking crazy good. And we did discuss this, or I discussed this. We obviously were expecting Chaos Dwarfs during 4th edition. We're thinking about the Ogre update during 4th edition. We haven't heard anything about those yet, but the one thing no one was expecting was the insane Gitmob release, or at least I wasn't expecting as well. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching my video. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.